We are going to do retina, and for that, we need to know that eyeball has three layers. The first one is fibrous layer, which is the external most. Then we have the vascular layer, which is the middle one. And then we have the nervous layer, which is the internal most layer. Talking about the components, the outermost layer has cornea anteriorly and sclera posteriorly. The vascular layer has iris, ciliary body, and choroid going posteriorly. The neural layer is also known as the retina generally, and it has further two layers if we talk generally, which are further divided in more layers: pigmented layer and the neural layer. Neural layer is also referred as the sensory layer of retina. Learning further detail about the retinal layer or the nervous layer, we have the outer pigment layer. And this outer pigment layer is in direct contact with the choroid component of the vascular layer as seen in the diagram. Now we have the inner neural layer of the retina. The inner neural layer of the retina is against the vitreous body. This vitreous body is also known as the vitreous chamber, has the vitreous humor inside it, which is a fluid inside the eyeball. This fluid inside the eyeball is in contact with the inner neural layer of the retina. The inner neural layer of the retina is divided into 9 layers further on the basis of histology. These 9 layers, when added up with the outer pigmented layer of the retina, account for the 10 layers of the retina, as labeled in this diagram. Now, let's talk about a mnemonic to remember the names of these layers. Focusing on this image, we see there is an angry pig. You can imagine Peppa the pig as well. Now, this pig wants to pick a fight, right? It wants to fight, it has a rod in its hand. This metallic rod, you need to remember, is going to be used as a weapon by this pig. Now, this pig is constrained by this limiting membrane, this limiting barrier in front of him. And the reason for that is because the pig has a rod with him and he wants to pick a fight. On the other side of this limiting barrier, there is a gang. There is a gang or there is a group of people who want to fight the pig. They're like, you big pig, we're gonna fight you, right? So now the gang, they call themselves NP. And you can see the nuclear explosion in the back. And they have some nuclear weapons. And they're like, we are the nuclear plexi group. Right. Now on the other side of the membrane, which I am referring to in this as this cord, right? On the other side of this cord, the limiting cord of the pig is this group, right? And it says, fuck the limit. Okay, we don't care about this limit, we don't care about this barrier, we are gonna fight the pig. And they all start to fight. Just imagine this scenario in your head. Now you need to remember this mnemonic as it is in this form: pig rod limits, nuclear plexi, NP gangs, fuck limit. So basically the pig is holding a rod and there is a limiting membrane, so limits, and then there is the NP gang which says fuck the limit. Now going into the further detail, the pig stands for the pigmented layer, the rod stands for rods and cones, which is the photoreceptor layer. Then we have the limiting membrane, specifically external limiting membrane. We'll get to the external and inner, all of that later. Then we have the nuclear plexiform layers. The nuclear comes first, then we have plexiform, then we have nuclear, and then we have plexiform layer. And then for gangs, we have the ganglion cell layer. For nerve fiber, we are signifying the word F, highlighting the word F in pink over here. We see the word fuck is for the nerve fiber layer, right? For the word F of the fiber. Then we have the limit, which is again fuck limit. The gang says fuck the limit, so there is another limit. So going from the external most layer, which is the pigmented layer, and the innermost layer of retina, which is the internal limited lamina is peg, rod, limits, nuclear plexi, gangs, fuck limit. Now, let's talk about how to divide the external outer from inner internal layers. So basically, there is this lead dotted line which gonna separate the external outer stuff from the inner internal stuff. So basically, we have the number 5, the fifth layer. Just remember, after the fifth layer, everything is going to be about N. Now let's talk about some important points which are going to be position or the location of certain cells inside these layers. First of all, we have the amacrine cells. These amacrine cells have their cell bodies in the inner plexiform layer and their axons project in the ganglion cell layer as shown. Then we have the axons of the horizontal cell layers which are projecting in the outer plexiform layer, and its cell bodies are present in the inner nuclear layer as shown in the diagram.